Welcome to the opening ceremony for the Basics Retreats. I'm going to now create safe, sacred, energetic space so that we may go forward in our retreat space, deep into ourself, and know that we're creating a container, a safe container. While you're going through your process in the retreat, I will be holding space from my altar. And in this moment, we're going to take a moment to consider, how do we create a sense of safety, safe space, a sense of sacred, safe space? In what ways can we create that container for ourselves? So that if there's moments where we feel vulnerable, where we feel like we're going into places that maybe are a little uncomfortable, we have a place that we can retreat to within ourselves, within our physical environment, where we can feel grounded and held while we go through those vulnerable places. The way that I am going to now help create a sort of opening ceremony is I'm going to use my rattle, I'm going to use my bird whistle, and I'm going to use my jaguar whistle. And I'm going to first use my rattle, and we'll just sort of breathe and meditate as I visualize a space for me. As a person who for many years has worked with the fire element in both my career and my learning progression, fire has been a teacher for me. Fire has been something that I used to be very afraid of, and I eventually became a fire performer, and I didn't go after seeking to be a fire performer because I wanted to get over the fear of fire. Rather, I was kind of inadvertently drawn into the fire by being attracted to a movement art form, and then out of that, the fire came out of nowhere, and at that point, I was called to learn to meditate and be present with my fear and work through it. In my years of working with fire, I have created a perimeter for myself, a sacred space for my group, the company Sacred Fire Dance that I direct, but also in my meditations and my healing. And I create a visual ring of fire that transmutes anything that moves through it, from outside within and from within to without, for the highest good of all. And so here in this space, I invite us to take a moment and center ourselves. And if fire is not your element, you can create any type of visualization that works for you. If you feel more grounded to the rocks or the earth, you could literally create a ring of rocks or stones around you. It could be crystals, it could be, if water is safe, you could get in a bathtub or a body of water in nature. There's so many ways we can be creative about how we're creating that sacred space. So for now, I'm going to create a visualization, and you can work with this visualization if you'd like, or you can create your own. So we'll allow ourselves to come present in this moment, grounded in ourselves. Your eyes can be open or they can be closed. And we're gonna visualize ourselves present, seated where we are, embodied, whole, perfect, and complete, safe. The intent is for safety, for security. It is for the highest good of all involved. It's for healing. It's so that we can deeply observe, listen, and be aware, and open ourselves to perhaps the information within that we need to be aware of, yet sometimes don't give ourselves the time to be aware of, or sometimes are maybe even just afraid to be aware of. So as we sit here present, we're going to visualize around us a very beautiful ring of fire. It circles all around us. And we can visualize that in the beginning on the 3D plane. However, we're going to allow this ring of fire to become a sphere of fire that circles around us in all dimensions. The space between us and the inner edge of the fire, we're imagining several light frequencies. Pink, the color of rose quartz. Green, the color of the heart. And we're visualizing those two colors swirling around in the space around us. And then we allow those two color frequencies to move through our skin into our bodies. And when they enter into our body, they turn into a pure crystalline light, like the purest of pure crystals, the purest, clearest light. And that light begins to emerge from all directions of our body, up, down, out, expanding in all directions, filling the space around us, moving and meeting the inner edge of the fire. It moves through the fire, out to the outer edge of the fire, and emanates into a rainbow of colors expanding out into the universe. It goes into the far expanses of the universe, as far as our mind, as far as our present awareness can imagine. Into the core of the earth, into the vast space of the stars and the galaxy. And as it begins to contract and flow back towards us, it turns from that rainbow light into crystalline, pure light as it moves back in through the fire ring, through the fire sphere, into the center of our heart. And in the center of our heart, we feel that pure light sitting in the center of our heart. And we imagine from the roots of the earth, we feel energy rising up from the root of the earth, meeting that crystalline light in the heart. And then we imagine from the vast outer expanses of the universe, energy moving down, a light, shaft of light moving down through our crown and connecting into the center of our hearts. And the earth energy and the celestial energy meet in the center of our hearts with that crystalline light. And when all of those energies come together, they transmute, they ignite into an inner heart fire that opens and activates our heart space. And we know in this moment, we tell ourselves in this moment, I am safe, I am held, I am nourished. And then we tell ourselves, as we touch our hearts, I know how to nourish myself. I know what I need to be safe. I know and intend to honor and value myself in the deepest, most expansive, healthy ways for my highest good. And from the place where we sit, we can relax our hands to our thighs. The eyes can remain open or closed. And we'll simply begin to come into the sacred rhythm of the moment, sitting present. And if your eyes are closed, you're welcome to open the eyes and begin to gaze out from where you are with keen observation. I'm going to use my Jaguar whistle, and for me, this serves multiple purposes. One, panthers, jaguars are keen at observation. They're good at observing their environment and being very stealth in the way they observe. Also, the sound that this makes to me, it creates kind of, to me, a protection. So the sound is, I want to say, a little fierce or sharp. And so we're using the sound to create a boundary around us that puts us in a sacred, safe space. So allow yourself to be present. And imagine that safe, energetic space, the ring of fire, the sphere of fire, or whatever element felt right for you. And from here, we will move forward into the retreat. We've created a sacred container. We've created an opening ritual that allows us to now go forward into the 16 days. And we can come back to this sacred space. We can come back to this sacred container. And I encourage you to creatively create in your environment, in your home, wherever your main place of doing the retreat is, a place where you can go to that is all your energy, that is all you, where you can, whether it be a cave or outside by a tree in your backyard, or if you live in an apartment and have a balcony, it could be on the balcony, or I'm here on my rooftop in downtown Sacramento where I live in an art community. And through my retreat, this rooftop, even though I share it with my, the neighbors that I live with, this became sacred space for me. Not only in my apartment, my entire space is my sacred altar, but this became part of my sacred space. And every day I found myself up here with the sunset, drumming. And sometimes people were here and I held to what I was doing, and but it became an important grounding place for me to come through the thick, low, challenging, vulnerable times, as well as the high times, as well as the space in the middle where I was feeling very balanced and even. But this return to this place was part of the process for me. So I encourage you to be creative and go into your environment and look and say and observe, like, where do I feel comfortable? Where do I feel safe? Like, where is my power spot? Where, when maybe I'm not feeling so good, where can I go to be held? And that environment will create that nurturing space for me. Also, in that space, create some kind of an altar. It can be very simple. It can be a plant or a flower or some rocks or some natural element that you put there, something that you feel drawn to, connected to. It could be a piece of wood, it could be a crystal, it could be a cloth. There's so many things that we can put there, decorate that space and do something to that space so that when you look at it, it feels beautiful, and understand that that space will change and evolve and grow as you do. As you move through the retreat, you may be inclined to move things around in that space, to change the energetics of the space, to be more in line with what is calling in you to be needed there. So go forward and use the visualization in the energetics of the space, like how I create the fire sphere, in your own way, as well in your home or in nature, in your backyard, in a park or some natural place. Create sacred place where you can go and retreat to and be with yourself through the duration of the retreat. I honor you and I hold space for your journey. I will, from my sacred altar and from my space here, be holding space for you from my side. And I will be supporting you through the entire journey, from this moment all the way through till the end. I'm here to support you. I'm here to witness your process. Thank you. May you be held in love and light. Blessings and deep peace.